Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Malia. For today's video, you can tell by the title, but I will be explaining my 2-year experience in Spain. This is going to be a pretty brief video on my experience in Spain. I'm just going to go through the main points, but if you guys would like to ask any specific questions or you want to know anything specific about my experience, then I can do another video, but I just kind of wanted to give a brief little introduction of why I was there, how I got there, what my job was, where I lived, things like that, you know? Yeah, so for the last 2 years, I lived and worked in Madrid, Spain. Before I continue talking about my Madrid journey, I do want to bring up where my Spain story started, and that is when I studied abroad in Barcelona in the year of 2020. We all know this year. In the year of 2020, I was studying abroad in Barcelona for the spring semester. So from January until May, whenever school ends. I don't even know for college anymore. But yeah, so I was supposed to be in Barcelona for 5 months, more or less 5 months. So I got to live in Barcelona for about 2 months, and I also traveled to London, I traveled to Paris, and I traveled to Madrid. I think those were the only trips that I took during that time, that short amount of time. So I studied abroad in Barcelona, and we all know what happened. You know, COVID came in. So when COVID showed up, I had to obviously go back home to the United States, back in Chicago. Since the world was ending. I asked my mom if I could stay, and she was like, and what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna live? What do you know? And did I have it figured out? I had nothing figured out. No. So I went back home, but in my mind, I'm like, I need to get back there. I want to continue learning Spanish. I want to continue traveling. I want to continue meeting people from all over the world. How do I do that? You know? So when I moved back home, this was my summer leading into my last year of college. And so all summer that I was home, stuck in my basement, quarantining, I was like, how do I get back to Spain? Or how do I get back to Europe? How do I leave America? Essentially, I don't want to get a 9-to-5 corporate America job. I really don't. So one day I talked to my mom and I was like, girl, I can't do the 9-to-5. I can't do it yet. I want to continue my Spain journey, but how do I do that? And my mom was like, okay, if you find a job abroad in Spain or in Europe, go, you can go. So I was like, okay, all I gotta do is find a job. How hard could that be? And let me tell you, it wasn't. I literally had that conversation with my mom, went down to my basement, went on my TikTok, and this girl was like, how I moved to France as an English teacher. And I was like, I could do that, right? So I stalked her whole TikTok. I figured out how she did it. I went online, and it said online that you needed to know French for whatever program that she went through. And I was like, I don't know French besides bonjour and oui, I don't know any French. So I was like, okay, not doing this, but I feel like other countries could have the same type of opportunity. And with one more search, I found the English teaching world of Spain. And there's so much information online. I literally just searched up English teacher in Spain. All I needed was an undergrad degree or the TOEFL certificate and to be a native English speaker. That's all I had. That's all I needed to do. And I'm like, check and check. Easy. And that's literally all I did. So that's my little intro into my Spain journey and stuff like that. So now I'm going to go through what program I went through to be able to teach English in Spain. As I was saying, I just searched up English teacher in Spain and I found the NALCAP program. But yeah, definitely check my description below for all of my resources and stuff like that. So when I say English teacher, then I was an English language teaching assistant at a public school. So I learned about the NALCAP program, and I was reading a lot of different articles and blog posts about other people's experiences in different regions in Spain and being language assistants and AUXes and all of that stuff. And what I got from the NALCAP program is that it's very competitive, and especially now that it's post-COVID, so many people want to do this job or have this opportunity. And so the only problem with the NALCAP program is that if you're not quick enough, you can end up in a small town, in a region you didn't want to be placed in. And so I was kind of nervous about that because I knew I wanted a major city. I would have been fine with Madrid, Barcelona, Granada, Sevilla, places like that. But little small towns with 100 people, that's just not what I was looking for. And so I joined different Facebook groups to learn about the different programs to help native English speakers teach English abroad. And so the one that I decided to go through for my first year is called CIEE. Here's the thing, I wanted to go with CIEE mainly because they had 2 placement locations. I think they had Madrid and Morica. I forgot what the other one was called, but they had 2 placements, so I knew if I applied, I at least would get the placement that I wanted, and that was a really big thing for me. So I decided to go through them because they also were supposed to help with visa information, paperwork, banks, phones, housing, all of this stuff to like get you situated in a new country. And so for me, I was like, okay, this is worth the $2,000 to have support in a whole different country, to have a place to ask questions. Like, you know, it's really hard and you don't know anyone in a new country. So I was just feeling that this was like a safe option to go through. Would I recommend it? They offer a lot, but they don't like meet those expectations of what they said they're gonna do. Personally, I think they were kind of disorganized. They didn't have all that information. They're charging way too much, but they know people are gonna do it anyways. They had a few pros. I do recommend the program to my friends, but I do give a warning of how much I actually received for their help. I don't know, I feel like after my orientation week with them, which is only 1 week, I got little to no assistance at all. It kind of was like, you're on your own now, and that's like not what they advertised. So I don't really appreciate that. Anyways, but my pros about CIE, I will share some. So we got to stay in a hotel for 1 week, which was extremely nice because you're not supposed to get your housing in Madrid, or like honestly anywhere in Spain, until you're in the country, just because so many people scam all the time. They'll tell you, oh, this is your apartment, blah blah blah, like just pay us, and when you show up, like you have a spot, you'll show up, apartment doesn't exist, landlord's nowhere to be found. So it was like really nice to be able to have a place to live for 1 week while we could also be searching for apartments. And so my friend Haley and I, we were able to find our apartment within 4 days, I think, of moving to Madrid, but we still had that hotel to stay in throughout the week, and that was extremely nice. So I will say that that was a very nice perk of the program. I met most of my friends the first day because of that program. Like same orientation group, same, or just like a part of the same program, which is so wild to me, but like it worked out that way. We had some people coming in like later here and there, but like most of the people I met through CIEE, and the only other times I met people were because of TikTok. I would post like little vlogs of like Madrid. But I met a lot of my friends through that, so that also was very nice. And like when you're moving to a whole new country, you know, you feel very lonely at times. You don't know where to go. Like you become friends with like the Spanish people, the American people, any type of people that have moved there. So it's like a great way to initially meet people. Like I said in the beginning, I was guaranteed a placement in Madrid for my school to work at, so you know that's a huge thing for me, was location. So like, was the $2,000 worth all of those things? No it wasn't, but in the moment I was fine with all of that. But looking back on it, there are probably better programs to go through, or cheaper programs. But I also got like the best school through CIE, so like I don't know, it's a hate-love relationship with that program. But just be aware that what they advertise is not completely what you will receive. They probably have become better at their jobs as, you know, time has gone on. So like I just said, another good thing about CIEE was that I got the best placement for my school. I swear my school was the best. I'm sorry, I don't care if anyone else has to stay. The teachers were great, my coordinator was amazing, everyone was so great. Sorry, there's like nature in the background, so that's why I'm talking really loud. Some of the nicest and caring and helpful people I met when I was in Spain were the teachers I worked with. One of the teachers I worked with, she literally let me keep all of my stuff from my apartment at her house over the summer, which was so nice. So I didn't have to find like a storage unit or keep it at like some random person's place. People were always just very welcoming, very helpful, very supportive. Oh, I miss them so much. I need to send them a text because I think they're starting school either now or soon. So oh, I love them. From day one, I felt so welcomed by all the teachers. I even got a tour beforehand. I got to meet some people. The school I worked at was also very small because we had 1 class per grade at the school. And I think because the school was smaller, everyone else was like very close to one another. It was kind of like a family dynamic. The school that I went to when I was younger was extremely small, so everyone was like pretty close. We all knew each other, and I just love those types of dynamics and like environments. I just feel like it's just so good. It's just like better. I feel like when schools are so big, you can feel kind of lost and lonely, but in this situation I felt the complete opposite of that. Very, very grateful. So let me talk about my main job. So I was an aux, also known as a language assistant. So I was a language assistant at a public school for the last 2 years, and my school was a primary and an infantile school, so like elementary and preschool combined. And so we had a separate building for the infantile students, so that's ages from 3 to 5 years old. And then our primary school was ages 6 to about like 12 years old. The primary school was like 1st grade to 6th grade. That makes a little bit more sense. And the classes of natural science, history, and English were all taught in English. So, which I think that's like a lot of classes. I wasn't sure what to expect. To be honest though, I felt bad when they had to learn like their own history in English, because like that's so confusing. And some of the concepts of science, like their natural science classes, were so difficult to understand. Like honestly, I give so much props to those kids. I was impressed every single day with them. Like they are smarter than me and they're like 10. But I was always just so proud of those kids. I would brag to everyone about those kids. Like they were fantastic. And I feel like at times some of the teachers were a bit hard on them. Obviously they know their ability a lot more than I do, but like I feel like anyone that was at least trying, I was impressed. All I wanted was just for them to try, even if it wasn't perfect. And oh, I missed them so much. We had 3 classes that were taught in English, and I would work with all of the classes in the schools. I'd work with the primary students and the infantile students. My schedule would change every hour and every day. I can give an example in the video of like what my schedule looked like. I know I've done a couple vlogs, like as a language assistant vlogs, and I think I put my schedule in there, so I'm gonna try to get that screenshot to put it in this video so you can kind of see what classes I worked with and like what the subjects were. And then also my schedule was so easy. I think I worked 16 to 17 hours for the week, which is like so low, you guys. That's like nothing at all. I worked Tuesday to Friday, so I had a 3-day weekend. I love them so much. Tuesday to Friday, I worked 9 to 2, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And on Fridays, I would work 9 to 12. Like you could not get a better schedule than that. I always had Mondays off, which I chose to have Mondays instead of Fridays off. Like I was saying before, my role changed every hour, every day. I worked with about 4 or more different teachers. So I got to know the teachers really well and the students really well. And my situation is a little bit different because my school was so small. A lot of my friends would only work with like 1 or 2 classes in their school. But lucky for me, I got to work with all of the students in the school, which I just love getting to know everyone. So because I would work with like 4 or more different teachers, they all would want me to do different things. It depended on the day of what they wanted me to do, just like what to do, like assist with the class or take a little group with me, do pairs, just do one-on-one lessons, help with tests. Like it really depends on what the teacher wanted you to do that day. But 2 of my favorite things that I would do would either be taking like a small group of students with me and just having conversations with them, especially the older students, because they want to speak in English and they have so much to say and the enthusiasm is there. Like I miss being around kids. Kids are just so pure. And they always have like the best stories to tell you, and like you really just get to know them better in a small group or one-on-one instead of like just assisting in the classroom. So I just loved having those moments with my students. Another thing I love to do is make activities or games for like their study day before their test. Whenever you're in school, you want to do something fun, you want to play a game or an activity. So like when you're the one that gets to make it, it's like they're so excited. I always loved those days when I was a kid playing the games and activities. So like being on the other side of it is still just as fun. But those are my 2 favorite things that I got to do with my students. And another thing about the school that I worked at, they would have like little events here and there. My favorite event that they have is this like around the world cultural food event. So a lot of the people in Spain, like yeah, they're Spanish, but their parents are from different countries. So a lot of their parents are from different countries in South America, or a lot of the students are Filipino. And so at the end of the year, they have this cultural food event where all the parents from the same countries will come together and they'll share their food, and there's music and games and inflatables and face painting. And I went both years. First of all, the food was amazing. That Filipino food was fire. Well, I hope someone's okay though. Venezuelan food was amazing. Honestly, all that food was so good. And then just seeing the kids having so much fun, and I'd be talking to the parents, and it was like I just love those moments. And I'm gonna miss that so much, just working in a school. Talking about this really makes me miss this. And I also did want to talk about my little side job I had. So what a lot of English assistants do to make some extra money is that they'll do English private lessons on the side. Throughout my 2 years, I probably had 8 to 10 different private lessons. And like my first year, 2 times a week after school, I would go home with this family. I would eat lunch with them. The mom, the grandma, sometimes the dad, if he was home from work, the 2 kids, we would all eat together. And then after, I would do my English lesson with the 2 kids. I got to practice my Spanish for free, and I got free food. Like, that was amazing. If you're doing this job now, or you want to do this in the future, and you don't know where to find these extra private lessons, I first would recommend talking to your coordinator at your school or any of the teachers at your school if they know of anyone that's looking for lessons, because a lot of parents they just like don't know who to ask or like where to look. So check with your teachers, check with the coordinators that you have at your school, and I think they should be able to help you. But if not, people are always posting in different Facebook groups of like open lessons that they're trying to give out. And also, these private lessons don't just have to be with kids. This can also be with adults. I know some of my friends would do private lessons with adults, and they loved doing that because you could talk about so many more things, and it wasn't as much of like a lesson. It was just like having a conversation with a friend, is how they explained it. Now I want to get into where I lived in Madrid. So like I said in the beginning, do not get an apartment in Madrid, in Spain, or wherever unless you are in that country, you are talking to that landlord, you have a contract. Because I've known so many people that have gotten scammed. It's like actually unbelievable. So yeah, like I said, my first year that I was there, my friend Haley and I found our apartment within the first week. So that was extremely nice. And we actually had an agent because our Spanish at the time was not good enough to talk to anyone or to like find an apartment, because we kept like calling people, and every time they would pick up, we'd be like, hola, no sé, no entiendo, and like hang up the phone because we're like, they're talking so fast. So we ended up getting an agent, which was a bit expensive, but honestly it was worth it in the end. And the apartment was so cute. I lived in Argüelles my first year. I love Argüelles, Moncloa. That area I think is a perfect area to live in. And because I lived in Argüelles my first year, I got to know so many other areas instead of just staying in like the main city center in Seoul. Because I feel like my friends that lived in Seoul, they would never venture out of anywhere else because there's so much going on right in that center part. But because I started somewhere a little further out, I got to know so many more things. For my second year, for last year, I actually lived in Seoul, the place I was just talking about. And this is like the main city center area. And this is like the most convenient spot to live in Madrid. I barely used the metro unless I was going to work or like to a further location. So it was nice to be able to walk to like every other little like area, because I could walk to Malasaña, La Latina, Lavapiés. It was a very convenient location, but it's just so touristy and like kind of gross. I'm sorry, it is. If I had to choose a different location to live in, I probably would do La Latina, Malasaña. Those are super popular areas, or Nuevos Ministerios. I'd probably look at that. Oh, and let me talk about how I found my apartment for my second year. I came back to the United States in Chicago for the summer before my second year in Madrid. And I went on 2 different websites, Idealista and Badi, and I secured my apartment for my second year on Badi. So that was super good. And like I said, I didn't want to get scammed, and I almost sent my money to this person, to my landlord, but I was like, you know what, I can't get scammed. If I need to, I can stay at my friend's apartment. So I had my friend Jason go meet him. He toured the apartment, he took videos of everything and pictures, and he was like, the guy is super reliable, he's nice, but he still was like, don't send your money until you're in Madrid. So the day I arrived in Madrid, I sent him my rent, and it was fine. It was good. Trying to find housing in Madrid is so hard. And my first year when I lived there, I lived with 3 girls. I was friends with 2 of them. Like, originally we were looking for a 3-bedroom, but we got a 4-bedroom, so we just found an extra person to fit in that spot for that bedroom. And in my second year, I wanted to live with random people to try to like better my Spanish and just like meet different people. So I lived with like 4 different girls. I lived with 2 girls from France, 1 girl from Sevilla in southern Spain, and 1 girl from Colombia. very nice people. Like, to be living with 4 strangers, that probably is the best situation I could have ended up in. But yeah, that is my living experience in Madrid. Now we're getting into why I left Madrid. Why I left. I didn't leave because I wanted to, but I left because I know there's better opportunities for me, and the situation that I was in, it's like I wasn't gonna grow from that. I feel like I got to the point where this is like the best I'm gonna get in Madrid. So that's like the main reason on why I decided to leave. You can only work in a public school in Madrid for 2 years. I don't think this is the same thing for other regions in Spain, but you can only work in a public school for 2 years, and then after you have to switch to a different school. So either something that's like a private school or a different region in Spain. And I loved my school so much, I don't think it could have gotten better than that. So I was like, I'm not going to a different school. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to start over with the teachers and the students. And, you know, I also didn't want to continue teaching or like being a teaching assistant anymore. I studied marketing in school. Like, that's what I have my degree in. And I kind of want to like segue more into like my business journey. I don't know, I kind of like want to do something more with like marketing in the next couple years. So I'm like, I can't stay here forever. I mean, I could, but like, I just knew that my journey was not going to end in Spain. So I decided to take a leap of faith, or whatever people say, and just like try something new. And like I said, I can always go back and I can always continue my life over there. But I just think there's so much more to explore in this world, and like with myself. So like, I don't want to just like settle just because something was great for like a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I'm making sense, to be honest, but I think I'm making sense. We'll see. Just from those 2 years of living in Spain, I learned so much about myself and all my experiences in Spain and traveling and meeting different people. It's giving me more motivation to like look at other options that are out there, and not just, once again, just like not just settling. Okay, you guys, so we are at the end of the video now, and this is what's next. This is what I've been wanting to share with you guys. I've mentioned it a few times in my most recent videos. I'm still doing research on like what I really want to do, but I think I have a pretty good plan. For about a year now, I've been taking one-on-one Spanish classes with my teacher Anna, and I use the website preply.com. It's so good. I think I pay like $6 for an hour class, which for me, that's pretty affordable. And then also I take my classes online because I can change it for my schedule, because I feel like my schedule changes each week. So if I need to change my lesson for the day or the time, I'm able to do that. So yeah, so since I've been learning Spanish the last year, I feel like my level of Spanish should still be a lot better because I lived in Spain for 2 years. I'm not happy with my level of Spanish. I'm still taking my lessons right now, but I just feel like I want to continue my Spanish journey, and that is why I decided to continue my Spanish journey and moving to South America for a few months, and I'll be going to Spanish school and taking different travel courses while still learning Spanish. I feel like it's a better idea to like immerse myself in the language and the culture better if I'm in a different country. For now, I'm just gonna be doing 2 months at least for Spanish school, or like learning Spanish, and then we'll see if I want to travel to anywhere after. I would like to, but it just like depends on like money. That's really it. So I'll be in one country in South America for Spanish school, and then after I'm gonna be doing a travel course, and this will be for 2 different countries. So it's like I'll be learning Spanish probably like every other day in different classes, but I also will be doing like excursions and cooking classes, dance classes, things like that. So like more activities to like immerse myself in the culture and just learn about different things. I feel like that's a really fun thing to do. And I wanted to do it with a program just so I wouldn't be alone, and I have more like guidance and stuff like that. So I think that would be really fun. So that is my South America journey. As it gets closer, I'll be posting more things about it after I do my research and like sign up for all this stuff. So what's next for my YouTube channel? So since I won't be posting any travel stuff and travel content until then, I'll be doing more like travel content from like January to April, kind of around there. So in the meantime, I'll be posting a lot more vlogs for like my weekend, wellness videos and routines and things like that. And then I also would like to do more like fall and winter themed videos. I think would be really cute and fun to do. So if you guys want to see anything, just let me know. I did just post my fall bucket list video the other day. I personally think it's really good. They are my ideas. but definitely check that video out. So that's kind of what will be coming up on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to know anything else about Madrid or Spain in general or traveling, let me know because I can always make a separate video on that. I'm gonna end off this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, have them, just let me know in the comments below. But I really appreciate you guys listening to me and learning about my 2-year experience in Madrid. Those 2 years were so amazing, from my job to my friends to my experiences in Spain to my travels. I just really appreciated my time there. If you are someone that's doing this experience, you will have an amazing time. Just stay open-minded. That is it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.